Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with Pacific Nut Producer Magazine, reporting to you from the Willamette Valley of Oregon. I'm here with local hazelnut grower Jimmy Lee from Third Night Farms. Here at the Nut Grower Society Summer Tour, you showcase some of your equipment here. Tell us about yourself, as a hazelnut grower, and then we'll learn a little bit about this piece of equipment behind us.
Yeah, so I started planting hazelnuts around Albany, Oregon. We mainly took over grass seed ground and put in drain tile, put in new irrigation wells, and started planting hazelnut trees. When the prices were really high, I bought a machine, this hedger, to help get away from less labor, just more skirting, hedging. A lot of the hazelnut orchards in Oregon have been all hand pruned, but we have overtime pay now and newer varieties that either grow shorter or have low branches that need taken care of. So we've kind of tried to modify a lot of things on the farm where we can hedge and skirt. We also have a sweeper head on a tractor so we can just shred the brush behind it. We're also burying the drip line, so all the drip line is out of the way and the orchard floor is just completely clean. So we're just I'm trying to be able to farm 500 or 600 acres of hazelnuts with just a couple employees and still do a good job. One variety of Yamhill we have is a short variety, so my idea is to leave them in high density and just hedge and maybe green hedge like they do in other countries at the end of May, and try to leave them in 10 by 20 spacing and getting a high yield, but not removing every other tree, and just being able to hedge a little bit every year and keep a high yield in those orchards. Some of my ground too is heavier clay soil, so some of the trees won't get as large and stuff. So I think by hedging and leaving them in tight, they're never going to become massive trees on some of the soil types I farm.
So you said you have double density with Yamhill. You're not planning on removing every other tree like what a lot of people do down the line when they get bigger? You think with hedging you can keep them tight and in place?
That is my goal currently. I do have a lot other varieties. Jefferson, I plan on doing a removal on Jefferson. It's a really large, tall variety. The Yamhill's a short. It's in 10 years it won't even be 10 foot if you look at the college data on Yamhill. So, and it's a high yielding early. I know in Chile they plant them real tight with Yamhills and leave them in and do a green hedge. So I'm kind of leaning towards doing that more on the Yamhill. I probably have 200 or 300 acres I'll try. This is the first year last year that I've tried that with the green hedging. We'll go out in the winter, spring and do skirting and get rid of the low branches with this. And then we'll go into May and just hedge vertical. I do have a plot out with the college for yields that we're going to try over 5 years and see what kind of yields response by a no hedging, a straight vertical hedge, and then a inverted like a 30-degree angle hedge too. So, I think there's a lot to learn. Hazelnuts right now, it's pretty tough. We got to figure out a way to farm them cheap, efficiently, and still do a really good job and take care of the trees.
Well, thank you. I mean, the green, you used to call it green hedging. That's kind of unusual. People are used to, at least here in Oregon, pruning in the winter time. So there's obviously going to be a little bit of concerns, and time. It's pretty time consuming at a time of the year when you already work in the field, right? And you've already got some crop developing. So are you at all concerned with hedging while the crop is set?
I guess with hazelnuts, they're winter pollinated with their catkins. So when they're filling nuts for this year, we're starting to produce catkins for next year. So I think with what I want to do, I don't want to remove a lot of wood. I mainly just want to get that sunlight down through. So I might be pruning off 5% of a tree or 10. I don't think I'm going to affect my yield big time over a long time because I'm not making huge cuts every year. I think I can do 50 acres a day with that machine, so it's not costing me a huge amount of money. We have the equipment to shred up all the brush. I think there's still just a huge amount to learn on hazelnuts and what we can do. The problem is a lot of hazelnut orchards have always been hand pruned, typically its whole life. There is maybe 10 of these single hedgers here in the valley with one bar. This is a double where you can do 2 rows. So I guess with anything, it's always trial and error, and we'll see how it goes. So.
Well, thank you for sharing. And be willing to try something new. Obviously, you're trying to make do under the circumstances because prices aren't what they were when you planted the orchard. So anything that to improve efficiency, lower labor costs. Thank you again for taking the time. Read more about these things in Pacific Nut Producer magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, PacificNutProducer.com.